Hey Plumeria fans, this is Mike from Mike's Plumeria Mania. We're here to plant some Plumeria seedlings today. I bought 150 Plumeria seeds online. They gave a little extra, so they say there's 179. Kind of like the packaging here. Let's see here, we got three types. One they call, these are all Plumeria Rubra. We got a mixed variety, a sativa, and a sakura. So, we are going to plant these babies and see how they go. Okay. So, my goal is to grow 1,000 plumeria. And as you know, if you're into plumeria, plumeria seeds, plumeria cuttings cost about $20 each. So 1,000 of those means $20,000. A little bit much. So I think seedlings are probably the way to go. Now, you see the bigger part of the seed? That's the seed. We're going to put that in the pot and cover it. We're going to go through all these babies and plant them. Now, everyone knows that about plumeria, that they like well-draining soil. So I've planted a lot of flowers in my life. My family had a flower farm, and I've probably planted, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of flowers. And what I've learned is that seedlings have different requirements than adults. So people will tell you to use a well-draining soil like cactus soil or something like that. And that's good for adults. But for seedlings, I'm just going for a Miracle-Gro potting mix. I'll put all the info on the website as far as where I got these seeds, what kind of soil I'm using, etc. But yeah, seedlings are a little bit different than adults. So I think the main thing about seedlings is you got to keep them moist. So that's why I'm using this normal potting mix as opposed to like a cactus mix or whatever. After these sprout in a couple weeks, I'm going to transplant them to a bigger pot, and at that time I'll do a cactus mix and use some fertilizer. But for now, these babies are just going straight in the potting soil. Okay. The other thing about planting that I've noticed is the most important thing is don't disturb the roots. Do not disturb the roots. So I got these little trays here that have like separation between each of the places where you pot it. So then when it comes to transplanting it, we're not going to have a problem about disturbing the soil. Okay. So we're just putting them down, just kind of covering the seeds a little bit and leaving the wing part up. Okay. Let's see here. Now the other thing about the roots is the roots need oxygen. So for these trays here, I did pack them down a little bit. I want to make sure they're pretty well packed because I don't want to disturb the soil when I transplant them. So I'm making sure to pack them down a little bit, putting them in a little bit packed, because when we transplant them, we don't want to disturb them. Yes. Now if you planted these in like a clay soil, it wouldn't be good because the roots couldn't get oxygen, and also it's kind of hard for the plants to grow. The soil, if it's very tough, it's hard for the flowers or the plumeria for the roots to push through the soil. So we want to keep it packed, but a little bit loose, kind of in the middle. So I'm really a fan of these trays that already have separation, because they're going to be very easy to transplant here. So about fertilizer, I'm not putting any fertilizer right now. I feel that seedlings are a little different than adults, so I don't want to put anything to burn them. You have to be careful about the fertilizer because it can really burn the plant. So we're not going to put any fertilizer in when they're little. Okay, let's go to the next one. So that was the Sakura. Now, next we're going to go to the mixed variety. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about germination. So normally I think ballpark you can estimate about a 70% germination rate. I got these seeds online on eBay from Thailand, and I've never bought from this vendor before, so I'm not really sure what my germination rate will be. So I'm hoping for about 50%. There's about 179 seeds, they say. I ordered a bunch of 50 packs, but this vendor adds a little extra, kind of like that. I'll put all the information about the vendor in the chat log. So I went through earlier, and I have a little tool here to make a little hole in here. So we're going to go through. These are all mixed seeds. So the thing about Plumeria is, if you have a cutting, it's genetically the same as the parent, but whenever you have a seed, it's not the same. So you never know what you're going to get. It could be a totally new variety. So that's kind of fun. So I only have a few Plumeria right now, so kind of anything's okay. So I got these mixed seeds to kind of see what we got. Now, as I mentioned before, my goal here is to get 1,000 Plumeria. I'm not looking to sell them or anything. It's just, this is Plumeria Mania. So I want to get Plumeria everywhere in my house, outside of my house, everywhere. So I'm probably going to go through and do this a few times, and each time I'll do it, we'll do some variation on the type of soil we use, and as they get a little older, what type of fertilizer and stuff like that. Okay, humming along here. Okay. Now there's different ways to do these seedlings. Some people recommend the paper towel method, where you put the seeds in a paper towel and then it kind of tests for viability of the seed, and I think that's pretty reasonable, but the thing I am concerned about is disturbing the roots. So I watched a couple of videos about the paper towel method, and what I see is that seems to me to be a little disturbing on the roots. So I'm not going to do that. Um, Obviously we have to, I have a little marker here for which one's which. Um, yeah, maybe we'll try that out sometime, but I think if you put them in some good soil, keep it moist, I don't think we're going to have a problem. And if we do it this way and it's successful, then we're not disturbing the roots at all. So I've transplanted a lot of flowers in my life, and I've noticed that when you disturb the roots, either it could kill the flower or, seriously harm it. So we are not looking to do that. But what's the correct way? I think everyone has their own style, and that's fine. We're going to try some different ways here, and we're going to learn, because half of the game is having fun, trying different stuff. So, okay, we are almost there with our mixed variety. Okay, let's talk about water a little bit. So, Plumeria have a problem that their roots rot. So, if you don't use well-draining soil, the Plumeria are going to die. I wouldn't even bother. So again, these are seedlings, so I think seedlings are a little different in that, it's kind of like babies, right? They have a little bit different requirement than adults. So, next is the Sedliva. I looked online, and these are kind of like a bluish purple. So there is no purple Plumeria. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but we'll give them a whirl, see what's going on. Okay, so back to the water. I think for seedlings, my opinion is seedlings just need some good soil. In real life, they fall to the ground and they start growing. They don't really need much human interaction. So, I'm not going to go for the well-draining soil for these seedlings. We're just going to kind of go with potting mix. When you plant these guys, make sure to not let them dry out. So I check them every day or two and make sure they're moist. You don't want to keep them wet, but make sure that they're moist. So hopefully in a couple weeks here, I'll have a bunch of Plumeria going. Let's see here. The other thing is about watering. Again, you don't want to disturb the roots. So you don't want to take a hose to these babies and disrupt them, especially when they're so little. So I got this little mister, and we're going to keep them moist by misting. It takes a little longer, but we're not going to disturb the roots here. So we're almost finished with planting these. I got a few more. And then probably in a couple weeks when they're ready, I'll do another video and we'll check up on them. And then at that time, I'm going to transplant them into bigger pots. I got a bunch of half-gallon pots. So we will do that in a couple weeks. Okay, let's talk about sun a little bit. So for these seedlings, we're not going to put them in direct sun at first. I'm going to keep them in the shade. I'm in Escondido, California, and it's in August, it can get over 100 degrees. So we don't want to burn these babies. Especially when they're little, they don't have much moisture in the plant. So um, we don't want to do direct sunlight right away. So once they get a few leaves on them, then I'm going to transplant them, and then little by little I'm going to start moving them into the sun. So, for example, an hour at first, then a couple hours, and then full sun. Now, full sun doesn't mean 24 hours a day, it means at least 6 hours a day. So, little by little, I will move them into the sun and they will get acclimated. The other thing to note is I have a lot of rabbits around here, and I've noticed I got a couple 1-year-old Plumeria, and they are chomping at the leaves. So people say Plumeria are poisonous, but nobody seemed to told the rabbits that. So they are chomping away. So we got to be careful on these, that especially when they're little, we don't want the rabbits chomping. So I have covers for all of these so nobody can get at them. And then when they get a little bigger, I'll make a little cage to store them in. About the cost, I got these 179 Plumeria seeds. It was about $42. These trays I'll use, I figure, about 10 times, so I figure it's about 10 cents per pot. Soil's about 3 cents, so I figure it's about 60 cents, considering a germination rate of about 50%. I think it's about 60 cents per planting, or about 30 cents for what I did. So that's about it. I'm going to put these in the shade, cover them up, and let's check back in 2 weeks. Okay, talk to you guys soon.